to read those comments sideways. Okay, we are live, everybody. As promised, I brought a special guest with me, Mark Molina, and we're going to be mostly talking, but we can take some questions also. We'll be talking about, I just want to interview Mark a little bit. Let me take the glasses off. It's getting the ring light. There we go. Okay, so we are about a week and a half, 10 days post-election. How are you feeling, Mr. Molina?
Well, I feel like there's a massive storm coming, and there's a massive threat to the immigrant community in America, and there is. The new incoming cabinet from the Trump administration is clear. They're going to begin immediately deporting millions of immigrants from America.
So let's talk about that, because leading up to the election, I was saying there's no way they can do it. They don't have, just the logistics of deporting millions. That was my approach. But now we're hearing more of the developments, more of the plans. So talk to me. How do you think what would that look like, do you think?
So first things they've mentioned is the information that they have on those that have been denied any form of relief that they have sought with respect to immigration law. Those are the first people that they're going to remove because they have all of their information. And if it means separating families, their solution is to send even though have known this is the only country they have known, they are going to deport without mercy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, I saw that video clip, Tom Homan, right? He's set to be the border czar, the former director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He was asked the question, like, well, what about these families? What about the U.S. citizen kids? Like, what's going to happen to these families? And did you see that clip?
Yes.
What was his answer?
He's going to deport. They're going to deport the children with the parents, so there's no issues around family separation.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to you, if you are Christians, if you are attending a church that has a Hispanic congregation or Spanish-speaking congregation, to remember that almost 90% of evangelical Christians in America voted for Trump, knowing that he is going to deport millions of people. Do not trust them, the people at your church. If they say to you, well, we're not going to turn you in, there's no reason for you to believe them. If I were you, my best counsel, my best advice to you is stay away from those churches, stay away from the Christian clergy, the pastors, stay away from those people, especially if you are an immigrant or you represent a household where there is an undocumented immigrant, because there is no reason for them to not turn you in, especially if the government is going to offer what they call bounties to do so.
Yeah. So unfortunately, like you and I, we've been Christian all of our lives. We were pastors for a long period of time. And it's been really sad to see the church turn towards Trump, almost like the savior type individual. But it does cause you to question, like, what is really in people's hearts? They're professing to love Jesus. They're saying, we want to be Christ-like. How does that mesh with all of this anti-immigrant sentiment? I don't understand how people are justifying that.
Yeah, well, we know that to be anti-immigrant is anti-biblical. We know that. I'm not going to go into all the biblical teaching here. This is about blame. This is about having a scapegoat. This is what the Trump administration, and it's not just the Trump administration. I want you to understand that he represents a segment of society in America that wants to maintain white power, white control, white dominance, and their goal and their objective is to remove everyone and anyone who is a threat to that power and a threat to that control. And so he has said a lot of things with what his intentions are. His new cabinet is already repeating those same messages. So there's not a surprise. There's going to be a shock value, yes, when we begin to see people rounded up and deported. But don't think for 1 minute listen to what I'm about to say to you. Don't think that if you have someone undocumented in your home, that you're safe, because you're not. And don't think that they're not going to come for you, because they are. And don't think you can go to your Christian church and trust the people that are there, to include the clergy and those that just swear we would never turn you in, but they voted for the man who wants to deport you. Immigrants serve this nation in multiple ways. One of the most powerful ways is in the economy, with the kind of work that they do. And people do not want to accept that. So this is really important. And if you have an immigrant in your household or in your family, you better start thinking, you better start making plans, and you better find a way to start protecting yourself.
Yeah. So 1 in 15 families in America has mixed status. That means that one person is a U.S. citizen, the other person is not, might have some sort of status, or might have no status at all. But many, many other families look like ours. So I'm 100% white bread, and you're Mexican heritage. What is third, fourth generation?
American.
Like yeah. So how are you feeling having a darker skin tone, being a U.S. citizen, but do you feel safe?
Yeah, no, I don't feel safe, and that's not hyperbolic language. Let me tell you, from the time I exited military service in 1995, even up to when Trump won the first time the presidency, people asked me, are you an American? Are you a U.S. citizen? Do you have the right to be here? Are you here legally? Is your family here legally? Many people asked me for my papers. When I was coaching soccer and a soccer referee, people were calling me wetback, spick, lettuce picker. I ran for city council twice, and people told me, go back to Mexico. We don't want you here. You're not welcome here. Take all your businesses and all your people with you. Mind you, I'm an American citizen by birth. I'm a veteran. We have 3 generations of our family who are veterans right now. And this is still a threat to our existence, peaceable, safe existence in America, simply by the color of our skin. So when people say, I'm not a racist, okay, maybe they're not a racist in some way. If they're nothing else, so they are incredibly anti-immigrant, and they hate what immigrants represent, as far as America needs somebody to pick on.
Yeah.
America wants to find someone to blame. America has done this from its beginning to now, whether it was the indigenous tribes, whether it was the slaves, whether it was the Asian people, the Hispanic people. They're always looking for someone to blame.
Yeah. It's astonishing to me that a nation that was built by immigrants, like literally, unless you are 100% native blood, you have immigrant blood in you. So this nation that was built by immigrants, that was founded on this concept of a melting pot, of bringing all languages and cultures together. In fact, we do not have even an official language. That is how powerful. Like, they did not want this to be a white English country, and yet every time there's been somebody to blame, the scapegoat that you're talking about, right? Which is interesting. That's like even comes from Christian terminology. Like, who are we going to put the blame on? Who are we going to sacrifice? It's always been the immigrant groups. They're bringing disease, they say. They're creating crime. They are, whatever. It's been the Italians, the Polish, the Irish, and the Germans, the Catholics, the Asians, the ones who built the railroad were the Chinese, but then we wanted to exclude them. During World War II, the Japanese. Like, we have to create, it's like we have to have an enemy, right? Instead of accepting responsibility that this is a country of opportunity where we can create our own opportunity, we have to blame somebody else if we're not going out and making that opportunity. It's somebody else's fault. It's not my fault.
I want to say to all of you that are listening, if you have immigrants in your family that might be undocumented, go see an attorney. Not just for immigration questions. You make sure you have a legal plan for your property, a legal plan in place for your children, a legal plan in place for you at your bank with your resources, anything that belongs to you. Because if they come and they take you, whatever's left over, your landlord, the bank, whatever, they're going to take control of those possessions. And a legal plan in America is still a legal plan. If you have an attorney and it's signed and it's notarized and it's drawn up, they have to follow those legal plans. Do not leave your families unprotected legally or unguarded legally. See an estate planning attorney, look at who needs to be a guardian, whatever that looks like. Do not leave your family without the legal parameters in place to access your bank, to pay your bills, all of those things. America better get ready. The undocumented immigrants, you better get ready. You better get informed. You better get a healthy plan in place, and you better prepare for people, Americans, to come after you.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that us as immigration attorneys were starting to talk about, like, how could this be possible? Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to change to make this mass deportation possible? One of the things that we were concerned about was an expansion of expedited removal. These are deportations that usually only take place at the border, but they could be expanded across the nation. And the way to disqualify yourself from that expedited removal is to prove that you've been here at least 2 years. So as Mark is saying, like, putting together a plan, I would recommend as much proof as you can have for the years that you've been here, whether it's 2 years or 10 years or 20 years. Put that evidence together, put it in a safe place, make sure that your family knows where it is. Because if you're detained and a judge is interested in hearing your case, if you're allowed to see a judge, then you're going to want to be able to present that evidence. I would recommend actually that you keep on you at all times any proof of your status, whether that's a green card or a visa or a passport, whatever your status is, keep that on you at all times. And if you don't have status, at least keep on with you proof that you've been here 2 years. That could be pay stubs, that could be receipts, bank account, all of that. Keep that together on you if possible.
Yeah, I think it's very important that you not delay, that you have a sense of urgency, that you commit whatever's necessary to get these plans in place. This is not a joke. This is going to happen. From day one, he's going to sign an executive order, like as he said, he's going to close the border, and they're going to begin to immediately start using all federal resources to begin immediate deportation. You have how many days? You got about 70 days left, maybe? Less than 70 days to have plans in place to protect yourselves, to protect your families, to have things in order. We're seeing all the hatred on social media. When I ran for city council this last time here in Springfield, Oregon, I didn't even share with Abigail until after the election. She came up to me and she said, "It looks like you've lost energy or desire." What I hadn't told her, I was receiving multiple phone calls from restricted numbers with people threatening me, threatening to harm her, threatening to harm our daughter if I didn't pull out of the race, and many other things, following me, threatening me. That's the reality. And I'm a U.S. citizen and I'm a veteran. And if they had no fear to threaten me, without fear of consequence, what do you think is going to happen if you're undocumented? Or if they even just think that you're undocumented? This is going to be mean. It's going to be ugly. No creen en los pastores. No creen en los cristianos. No creen en las iglesias. Porque
no confían.
No confían porque casi 90% de los cristianos votaron por Trump, con el conocimiento que él quería deportar los inmigrantes, como 25 millones de inmigrantes. No confía en ellos, ni los vecinos que tiene. Solamente tu familia hace un plan legal, lo pone en acción y guarda los papeles y informa a todos los que viven en tu casa donde están los papeles. Hablen con abogados para proteger todo lo que pertenece a su familia.
Es muy urgente. entendemos que hay mucho miedo ahorita, pero hay mucho que se puede hacer para preparar y hay que tomar estas acciones, tomar pasos para asegurarse y para entender cuáles son los derechos. Por eso estamos aquí todos los días, martes a sábado, estamos dando información. No sé cuántas veces Mark va a venir conmigo, pero yo como abogada de inmigración estoy informando a mi comunidad. Vamos a empezar de tener juntas en el condado de Lane para que podamos preparar no solamente los que no tienen estatus legal, sino la comunidad que apoyan a los inmigrantes. ¿Qué se puede hacer para apoyarlos que tienen tanto miedo, que no tienen estatus, que no tienen derechos legales? ¿Qué se puede hacer para apoyar? Pues no podemos confiar, como dice Mark, en los cristianos porque ellos votaron para Trump. Entonces ya nos avisaron qué les importa y ahora nos toca a nosotros, los que sí apoyamos. Sabemos que no todos los cristianos, conocemos personas que son cristianos que no votaron para Trump, pero los que decidieron que los derechos de un bebé que todavía no está nacido vale más que una vida de un inmigrante que está con nosotros. Esto es algo que debe de darnos miedo y hacernos pensar. Julie dicen gracias y de nada, Julie.
Y habla con tus hijos, porque si viene a recogerles de su casa y ellos están en la escuela, hable con ellos, ¿qué es el plan?
Yeah.
¿A quién pueden llamar? ¿A quién pueden hablar? ¿A quién pueden visitar para conocer qué pasó a mis padres?
Tuve que voltear el teléfono para ver los comentarios o las preguntas. James, you're applying to law school this week. You're wondering if we could talk about good law schools for immigration. Really, like any school you go to, sorry, these glasses are gonna give feedback on the ring light. Any law school you go to is just gonna give you a foundation. There are places that have clinics. I couldn't name them off the top of my head. I went to University of Oregon that had like 1 or 2 classes in immigration. I actually started as a legal assistant. I would recommend doing that. You'll get a really good foundation in immigration law if you start as a legal assistant and then go to law school. But get into any law school you can. Thank you for applying. Thank you for taking these steps. It's times like this when we recognize the value of the attorneys in our country. Like I recognized that during the first Trump administration, I felt so powerless, but then I was like, wait a minute, I'm an attorney. Like our job is to go into court and fight these things. You're going to see all kinds of lawsuits, everything that Trump does, we're going to sue him. But it's going to take time to go through the court. So meanwhile, there need to be plans in place to protect yourself.
And his administration is not going to obey the law. They're going to deport first and worry about it later. Mm-hmm. We still have 1,400 missing children from when they separated them from their parents at the border. 1,400 children that no one can account for and that are gone.
Yep. Sorry, guys. We're trying to get some of these questions. If you have questions, okay, Yuli tiene otra pregunta. Entonces, si hay una redada, agarran sin preguntar y ya después piden la información. Sí, así se hacen. No jueguen. Esto es un juego para ellos. Siempre lo he visto a los ICE, la policía de inmigración, que es un juego, como si fuera gato y, ¿cómo se dice? No, mouse. Like a cat and mouse game. Es un juego para ellos. Entonces, ellos hacen lo que gustan sin seguir las reglas. Si vienen a la casa, no pueden entrar, pero van a tocar y tocar y tocar hasta que ya se enfada y abren. Van a decir que tienen orden de arresto, aunque no lo tienen. Entonces, tiene que entender los derechos. Por eso vamos a estar dando información así. Thank you, Yuli, for your question. She was asking, can they just pick you up and then look at things later? Like, yes, of course. Like, it's a cat and mouse game with these ICE officers. How can you prove your husband came legally if no papers can be found, filed a FOIA, and still nothing? Yeah, you definitely need to be working with an immigration attorney for that one. Ratón. Gracias. No pude recordar la palabra para mouse. Ratón. Yeah, rat.
Rata.
Ellos son ratas.
Sí.
Así es cierto. Gato y ratón. Gracias. Sigo aprendiendo. T tried 3 attorneys. Keep trying, guys. You have to keep trying. We do a free discovery call process because many people don't dig deep enough to find what can be done. It's time to get creative. Like, I'm not talking about, filing something that's not true, but you gotta look for options. Oops, I always messed that up. Are they just targeting undocumented border entries or every immigrant? He started the campaign saying
Every immigrant.
no, he started saying undocumented.
Mhm.
And by the end of the campaign, once JD Vance was on board, they were talking about people in Springfield, Ohio that have temporary protected status, legal status. They were talking about Aurora, Colorado, where those people are Venezuelans that they have temporary protected status. So they're talking about removing everyone. You can go and talk if you want.
Yeah, so I think it's really important that you listen and have a plan, especially if your children are citizens and they take you, mom, dad, whatever, that you have a plan. You have a plan. What are they going to do? You have to have your legal documents in place, have an emergency executive order for guardianship, someone who will take care of them, someone who can access the money to make sure that they're taken care of, to make sure that they can get medical attention, that they can have access to your funds at the bank. You have to be thinking about all of these things. If they take you and they leave your children here, who's going to make the car payment? Who's going to make the rent? Who's going to pay the electricity? Who's going to do all of these things? You have to have these plans in place.
Yep.
In every detail.
Yuli está preguntando si llegan a la casa, entonces simplemente no abrir la puerta. Así es.
Mhm.
Pero hay que entender que van a quedarse allá. No van a salir. Es su trabajo venir y buscar y llevar. Entonces se van a quedar hasta que salgan. Y luego cuando salgan ya se va a detener. Yuli's asking, so can you just not open the door if ICE comes? Yes, absolutely. You can refuse to open the door unless they have a warrant. If they have a warrant and you can see it like through a window, you can see that all the information on there is correct, that the person is inside the house. If that person's not there, just tell them that person's not there. But if they don't have a warrant, especially if they don't have a warrant or there's errors on the warrant, you do not have to open the door.
And they like to say, well, come outside and we'll show you the warrant. Mm-hmm. Come to my car, we'll show you the warrant. Open the door, we'll show you the warrant. Let us in, we'll show you the warrant. Do not believe them. Do not let them in. Do not step outside.
Or they'll try to negotiate, saying, if you cooperate with us, we will let you, figure something out with your kids. But if you don't cooperate with us, we're going to make it harder for you. It's not true. They will not keep their promises. A lot of people on here are asking about DACA. I do think that DACA is going to be one of the first programs that they address. The program that the majority of the country supports are the children who were brought here while they were children. And yet for the last 2.5 decades that I've been working with immigrants, we have failed to give something permanent for Dreamers. So be careful, make sure that you're checking to see what you can do aside from DACA.
And I have one more thing that's really important to me that I think I should say around community celebrations, quinceañeras, whatever it is, Mexican Independence Day, Day of the Dead. Once Trump gets into office, you need to really think about what kind of celebrations you're going to participate in. If you're going to, especially if it's in a public place and you have a lot of undocumented people there, you really need to think about whether you're going to go to that, because that's going to be a perfect time and a perfect place for the federal agents to target families and target people, to round them up and take them off the streets. You're going to have to be smart. It's going to change. Whether we like it or not, it's here. And we're going to have to be smarter than they are.
Yeah. James, I think, James, you're the one that's going to law school. You're asking, how can you improve your Spanish? Classes, immersion, like all of that. I started when I was in high school and started working with immigrants right out of college. You can do it. Si se puede. Even Mark, he grew up. Explain how you're.
Yeah, so, my parents were Americans by birth, and they grew up in America during the civil rights, segregation, the Voting Rights Act. They had to fight for their rights to just to be able to live as citizens, though they were citizens by birth. And so our mother would only speak English to us because she would tell us our father didn't get to go to school. They had to work. So she would tell us, this is America. In America, you have to learn to be able to read, write, and speak English to go to school. Because if you don't go to school, you won't be able to get a job, and you're going to have to work the fields like we had to work.
And that was before they had bilingual education.
That was way before they had it. When I was a kid, I'm 60 years old. I was in high school in elementary school in the 70s. There was no such thing as bilingual education. If you couldn't speak English, but when you showed up on school the first day, they sent you home, and that was it. So my mother did what she had to do. And it wasn't until I became a pastor and I went to a missionary Spanish program that I learned to get really efficient with the Spanish so that I could preach and teach in Spanish. But I'm telling you something, Latinos that have been here a while, my age anyway, we remember what our families went through. I saw the end of it. I remember being thrown out of restaurants, stores, told to leave, you're not welcome here. And we're just, that's where we're back at again.
Yep. Stephanie, you're asking, you said your husband's from Scotland. That's cool. He has a green card. You need to worry. Get the citizenship as soon as possible. If he got it through marriage to you, you can do that 3 years after you get your green card. So everyone who's eligible for citizenship should be doing it yesterday. ¿Qué es bueno poner en la carta de poder? Yo no hago ese tipo de leyes, entonces hay que hablar con una abogada de familia para saber qué se puede hacer. Thank you for helping these people, of course. Thank you for everyone who's supporting. Make sure you're reaching out to your community, those around you. There's a lot of fear right now, and there's many people coming on here on the comments saying, stop spreading this fear. It's not true. It's not true. We're not trying to be fear mongers. We're trying to get people prepared. And whether that means that you leave the country now, some people are saying, well, just leave, go to North Korea is nice right now. Whether, that's your option. Everyone has options, and you need to make sure that those are informed decisions together with an immigration attorney to know all of your options, all of the possibilities.
The Trump administration cabinet just said yesterday, we are looking forward to deporting millions of people. Just yesterday, the idea that we're spreading fear and this isn't happening, it might not be happening today under President Biden, but on day one of the Trump administration, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And the people that are saying it's not happening, don't spread fear, they're the ones that don't have anything to worry about. Mm-hmm. So they can talk like that. Those are the people you better not listen to.
Yep. Listen to your leader. He's the one saying all of these things. People are trying to deny. I didn't vote for Trump so that people would be deported. I didn't even know they were going to be deported. Like,
it's a lie.
It's convenient. Yeah. What's expected for the first executive action on immigration when his term starts? Just take a look at Project 2025. That's the blueprint right there. They already have all of that outlined there. I assure you all of those executive orders are written or being written now to be signed on the first day. There's a lot of hate on here, you guys. I'm not even going to give it.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. This is the reality of the hate that's out there. The people that, we didn't vote for Trump because we hate people. Wrong. There it is.
There it is. Right there. What's the word? What's that saying? Your heart. I don't know. All that is hidden will become to light. All right, we're only going to be on here about 5 more minutes, guys. We're at a hotel. We're going to check out. Go enjoy the big city. We're in Portland. Our office is located to our south of Portland, Oregon, but we have clients all around the country and all around the world. If you saw our videos this week, you saw that we're hiring. I was astounded by the response to that. Like, my assistant is currently sorting through hundreds of resumes. So if you applied, please be patient with us. We're currently a team of 16. We're going to double in the next year and probably keep doubling from there because we believe that immigrants make America great, and we're going to keep fighting for immigrants. Yeah, tons of hate on here.
So that's all right.
You got what you want, so
Yeah,
why are you hating?
you got what you want. He was clear from the beginning he was going to deport. He said 25 million immigrants. You
Yep.
voted for him. He's coming in. He's going to do it. Everyone's going to, no one's going to escape the decisions that this man makes.
Yeah.
No one is going to go untouched, from sea to shining sea, from the north to the south, to the east to the west. There's going to be tariffs. There's going to be roundups. There's going to be a Muslim ban. There's going to be, they're going to dismantle the Board of Education or the Education Department. They're going to take apart any hope for DEI. They're going to radicalize the federal government to execute a Christian theocracy, period. Yep. And so we're the ones that need to settle in. And I don't care the people that have hate, God bless you too.
Yeah. Cursed potato. If you're a citizen, they can't deport you. That's not true.
That's not true.
Look at the color of his skin. Do you think he's a citizen? Yes, he is U.S. born. But will he be harassed? Will he be potentially detained? I think so. And we're making plans accordingly. And also, anyone who naturalized their citizenship, Stephen Miller has already announced that they are ramping up. They're going to turbocharge the denaturalization program, where they're going to look into things, dig stuff up, go on a witch hunt for people that should not be citizens anymore. So no one is safe, you guys. What state we're in? Oregon. The Springfield, Oregon, not the one where the other Springfield that's famous.
Springfield, Ohio.
N-400 for citizenship, pending for 18 months without an interview in Nashville. I don't know what Nashville's looking like, but that seems like a really long time. They might be investigating something. At some point, you're going to want to do a mandamus, sue the government. The government's just going to, I'm actually kind of looking forward to putting all these people's names on a lawsuit. So that's going to be good times.
Yes, I'm beginning in my work in the town that we're living in to protect the immigrant community. I've made clear my intentions, and I've told everyone I expect to lose friendships, to make new enemies, and to feel the sting of engagement. And those are all acceptable. Just as you saw the hate on here, I'm getting it every day, and I don't care. I was a soldier a long time, and I swore to defend the Constitution of the United States, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So big words or bad words or mean words don't scare me. And I'm in it for the long haul. And I have already made my commitments. There's going to be a price to pay, and that's okay. And I'll see everyone in the fight.
Yep. We got to check out, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the love.
Peace out.
We'll see you next time.